There's a life cycle within cities, particularly within neighborhoods and urban areas, and it affects how crime gets distributed. People who raise their families in those structures, they move on after a period of time, and those units turn into rental units because it's hard to find buyers for older complexes and residences. And that happens to just line up with certain types of clientele or a class of people who reside there that happen to have a tendency more towards lower levels of crime and criminal behavior.
I started with the Ogden City Police Department quite some time ago. It was in 1978, August of 1978, as a young patrolman patrolling the streets throughout the city. In that time period, in a changing mode, we started to see an expansion of some of the crime areas.
Through the 90s, that stagnation and that certain level of crime existed, and it gave us a bad name.
The general citizen or the general population became a little bit apprehensive of going downtown because of the perceived risk or endangerment that was there, which became very dangerous to business itself.
At one point in my career with the department, there were 5 of the 8 socially economic challenged areas in the state of Utah and Ogden, 4 of the 5 enterprise zones and 1 of the weed and seed areas. We spent a lot of time and effort to literally do what the weed and seed was all about, is to weed out that was causing some of our problems and try to seed it with neighborhood opportunities and new businesses and those kinds of things.
Let's make it happen, baby! Let's make it happen!
That's kind of what Mayor Godfrey was facing as he was coming into the office.
The biggest change that impacted crime came with Matt Godfrey being elected mayor, and the change in the vision for what the city was, where to prioritize the city's money and resources, how to direct the efforts of the police department towards solving problems versus just simply dealing in a reactionary mode with crime as it was occurring.
He tasked each of us to make sure that we were bringing something innovative and different to the picture, and he held us accountable to him. He said, you will go out and try this, you will do this, and we'll just keep trying things until we're very successful at them. He gave me a lot of latitude to do the kinds of things that primarily would reduce crime and make this community a safer place to live.
It was easier to develop partnerships, with private entities out there that wanted to make a difference within the community.
Welcome. It's an honor to be here today for this press conference to talk about a program that has been very successful. This is about the Ogden City Good Landlord Program.
The Good Landlord Program was one of those ideas. Matt Godfrey recognized the value in that and began discussion with the police department about it, and the police department moved forward with it. And Matt was able to convince the city council, as well as a number of people in the business community, particularly in property management, that this could bring about positive change in the environment.
Another thing we done at that time period was the crime reduction through environmental design, to where we went out and talked with businesses and made contact with people of what they could do on their properties, just little changes that may eliminate some of that criminal element or reduce the activities.
The porch light program, the theory is that the more light you can put in the neighborhood, the better, or reduced crime you would have. And the city looked for opportunities to do its part and put in light poles and lights.
Behind me here you're seeing a center that was directly developed under the guidance of Mayor Godfrey and Chief John Greiner. We call it the Real-Time Crime Center, and this is a center that is especially helpful for the officers that are out there on the street, to where they can interact the information that we're trying to obtain to assist us in the investigation of crimes out on the street.
Tying a number of community initiatives together, particularly the community-oriented policing program, with a narcotics enforcement piece was critical to impacting that environment and having a positive change. That tie between the narcotics enforcement piece developed within the community-oriented policing squads was critical to also helping reduce crime within certain neighborhoods and having an overall reduction of crime impact across Ogden.
Other things we've done here is one of the major things, accomplishments I believe in my career, is the gang injunction. We are the first municipality agency that has filed an injunction against a local group of individuals here within the community that we basically, through criminal history and involvement, have identified as being a public nuisance, to where it is illegal for them to participate in criminal acts in concert with each other. It's even illegal to be out on the street in public associating with each other to the point where there's a curfew.
I think the testament to Mayor Godfrey is simply that he understood what we were trying to do. He understood how every department director's piece of the pie played out in the changing of Ogden's image.
Ogden has had a remarkable run at reducing crime, far beyond the norms, far surpassing the federal reduction in crime and far surpassing the state of Utah's reduction in crime. I think you can credit that to a number of things we've already talked about, those tools combined together, but most importantly, you can credit that to the vision and the energy of Mayor Matt Godfrey. He was able to implant that vision. He was able to take a variety of people, including the police department, but other departments in the city. He was able to coalesce their efforts into a team-like atmosphere, and he was able to ensure that they were successful. He gave us the tools and the resources we needed and used his energy to allow us to facilitate changes in laws, changes in equipment, changes in technology, all towards the vision of reducing crime. A 33% crime reduction across 10 years is unheard of, it's unprecedented, and it has not happened in very many places within this country, if at all, other than in Ogden City.
I think today you see the fruit of that effort of 12 years. You look around the community, you see huge economic development pieces. You see where the old White Elephant Mall stood, you see a brand new development. And all of this happened during austere times. It happened during times when, particularly the last 3 or 4 years, there wasn't a lot of economic incentive to move things forward given the state of the economy. And yet, because we had spent the full 12 years doing innovative things when they came to fruition in the last couple of years.